1:30. Can I need some room here. Blocks might be handy for this, just to kind of have to help balance and have there, but not totally necessary. Oh, it's perfect. So, all right. So we said we have 3 classes left today, Thursday and Saturday. There are 3 cards left. It worked out totally perfectly. All right. So, good morning. I don't think I said that if anybody's going to watch this later. We're going to do Anjaneyasana this month for our June pose of the month, our low crescent lunge. There's a lot of names for this pose. I remember when we were doing teacher training, there was a lot of discrepancy between like what's low lunge, what's high lunge, what all these different lunges are. So there's a lot of similarities in these poses, which I'm sure you've noticed when we do like our sun salutations and we're stepping back to low lunge. Sometimes we come up to high lunge, or when we drop that knee for Anjaneyasana, which is where we're going today. They're all pretty much the same foundation, right? We're just changing 1 or 2 things. So high lunge, we're lifting the top body, legs stay the same. What we're calling low lunge in class is both legs lifted, right? But body is down, and that's our low lunge. And then our Anjaneyasana, our crescent lunge, is where we drop that back knee and we add that back bend and that heart opener. So with me in my class, that's going to be our 3. We've got crescent lunge, Anjaneyasana, low lunge, and then our high lunge. So that's our little lunge story. We're going to start on our backs today. So if you want to lay down, you can. If you want to stay up to see which of the 3 remaining cards we're going to hear from today. Let's see. All right. What do we need today? We'll get the middle guy. The difficult relationships in my life are the perfect mirror for me to look more closely at my own behavior. Ooh, what a good card. Kind of a cool image too. Makes me think of like that balance, as above, so below, you know, little good and bad, all of that sort of thing, night and day. All right. Go ahead, lay down, get cozy, take a few moments, find some stillness, find your place, quiet, right? Your sacred space. Find your breath. No rules, whatever's comfortable for you. If you want to twist your body up in any ways, like bent, Baddha Konasana, arms wherever, whatever feels good, whatever lets you just find some stillness. Just try not to hold the body wherever you are. Let it relax. Let the mind relax. Start to quiet the noise, putting aside the day, just for a few moments. And we can pick it all back up when we leave our mat. I'm going to read that card again for us. The difficult relationships in my life are the perfect mirror for me to look more closely at my own behavior. It's a great reminder. Very often, the things that really get under our skin do so for a reason. Sometimes it's a thing, or sometimes it's a person. I know immediately a person that comes to mind for me, right? Someone I love very much. They just know how to just get in there. And I've learned that most of the time, those things are really my things. And I've learned to figure out how to take a step back, right? Sometimes it's a little too late, right? We're working on it. We try to catch ourselves before we're triggered or before we respond to the trigger at least. And remember, what really is this? that can be hard to do, right? It can be hard to pull ourselves out of that moment, whatever's going on. But that's what we learn in yoga. We talk about this a lot, finding that pause, right? I'll be honest, a lot of my life I was very quick to fire, just go. It was always somebody else's fault, not mine, right? I was the one being wrong. Then I started to be able to stop afterwards and reflect back and go, all right, maybe I was just running late and I was aggravated in that situation and nobody really did anything, right? But it was still after, which is good. We're learning self-reflection. Now I'm to a place more where sometimes I catch it in the moment before it happens very, very quickly and stop it, right? Where I can go, oh, no, 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 please. This is my bad day, right? That cashier isn't grumpy or doing anything wrong. I am. Or the slow driver in front of me actually is driving the speed limit and they're not doing anything wrong. I'm just running late and that's my fault. Or this person that's upset with something right now, right? What role did I play? Yoga helps us create that pause for self-reflection. It helps us learn how to go deep within ourselves and get to know ourselves so that we're capable of that self-reflection. That's how we find growth, not just on our mats, but in our whole world. Enough of my yammering. Let's jump into our practice. You had your body all bent up in some kind of crazy way. Find your way to flat. Come to straight on your mat, on your back. You know, maneuver around a dog and join you. And then once you just take a moment to pause there, go ahead and on an inhale, find your way to a nice big full body stretch. Arms come overhead, point those toes, really sending the energy everywhere through the body, starting to wake everything up. And then an exhale, we'll relax the arms down to the side, draw those knees into the chest. And then just start feeling your way into your body here. What's it asking for? Do you want to find a little movement, maybe massaging that low back? The rock side to side or some circles, something else that you like to do here, right? Whatever feels good. Just starting to notice how things are feeling, waking up different parts of the body. Maybe you're just hanging out in some stillness, letting those knees melt into the chest. Maybe a little bit of everything. We'll hang here for another breath or two. So maybe making your way to that stillness if you're not there already. And from neutral, we'll extend that left leg straight out on the mat, keeping the right knee in. And when you're ready on an exhale, we'll find the twist. So drawing that right knee across the body. Upper body, if it feels good to let that right shoulder come down, start opening up that area a little bit. That'll be helpful for us a little later. But if those shoulders are super tight, that doesn't feel good, you can just keep that right arm on the body. We'll hang here for one more breath. On the inhale, we'll bring it back to neutral, drawing that left knee in to meet the right. And we'll extend that right leg out straight on the mat. And on the exhale, find the twist on the other side. So drawing that left knee across the body. Same thing on this side. Maybe it feels all right to bring that shoulder down. Maybe it feels all right to bring that right knee in to meet the right. And we'll extend that right leg out straight on the mat. And on the exhale, find the twist on the other side. So drawing that left knee across the body. Same thing on this side. Maybe it feels all right to bring that shoulder down. Finding that breath here. Every exhale, just kind of letting your body melt a little deeper into the pose, right? No holding here, we're on the ground. Next inhale, we'll bring it up back to neutral. And Anjaneyasana really gets into those hips. So let's wake them up a little bit. We'll do some figure 4 stretch. So bring knees, bent knees, soles of the feet to the mat. We'll start right ankle on the left knee, pressing that right knee open and away towards 3 o'clock. And then moving as slow or as fast through the stages of this stretch as your body wants to go. Maybe you just use the hands here to open up that knee a little bit further, creating a little bit more space there. If your body likes it, you can pick up that left leg, drawing that left knee into the chest, taking the stretch a little bit deeper. Make sure you keep the toes flexed on that right foot and keep pressing that right knee open as you draw that left knee in. And I know those arms are working a little bit maybe, but just try to keep that upper body soft, relaxed. One more breath here. On the exhale, we can release that left leg down if you've got it. Uncrossing the right. We'll find that stretch on the other side. So left ankle, right knee, sending that left knee open and away. Feeling your way into those hip joints, starting to wake them up. Staying here as long as you need to. And then if you want to draw up on that right knee, taking that option whenever you're ready. Like I know I'm going to get here, right? I know that I'm always going to take this stretch to this place, but I still like spending those couple of moments just kind of using my hand to open up the hip a little bit and stay in like each little stage of the stretch. I'm going to give my body a moment to catch up with where my brain knows that it's going. Sometimes that an ego mind just wants to get there, right? Oh, I know I can do this super hard thing, right? That's all right. You can still go slow. Next, exhale, we'll release that right leg down, uncrossing that left knee. And then we're gonna make our way over to tabletop. So you can draw those knees in, rock yourself up and over, or just press yourself up, however you get there. You might actually, all right, I guess. See how long I can practice and teach with the dog on that today. Gonna have to move eventually. All right, let's just wake up that spine a little bit. Like I said, we're gonna use this heart right in the back of bend. We'll do a few rounds of cat cows. Oh, she's fine. Okay. So from that tabletop, on your breath and at your pace, on an inhale, drop the belly, lift the gaze. Really thinking about that upper back here. On the exhale, we're tucking that tailbone, pressing into those hands, gaze comes straight to the feet. And as usual, a few rounds of cat cows, any other movement that you like here. Side stretches, opening up into that side body a little bit. Just sort of getting the spine ready for our practice here, right? We don't want to jump into anything too cold. Last round of breath, and we'll come to meet at neutral. And we're going to slide up into down dog. So hands come forward, lift the toes. On an inhale, press up, send those hips to the sky. And if those legs need a little pedal, a little wake up, saying hello to those hamstrings. Take the movement here. And then we'll start to settle in, finding our breath. Hanging here for just a couple breaths. Get that body fired up, warm, ready for our practice. Last breath. On the inhale, but a bend in those knees, walk your way to the top of the mat, forward fold. Right, you're soaking, so you can't have this anymore. From that fold, let's take an inhale, finding half lift. Find some length in that spine. On the exhale, let it go, forward fold. Nice and slow, let's ragdoll our way up to standing. Maybe put a little bend in those knees. About stacking one vertebrae at a time. Going even slower than you think you need to. Bring the head and neck to the last things to come up. Rolling those shoulders back as you get there. And coming into Tadasana as you arrive. Nice open heart. Finding some intention in your stance, right? Rooting down through those feet. Starting to lift up through everything else. Maybe bring a smile to your face. And let's jump right into a little flow here. On an inhale, sweep those arms up overhead. Exhale, forward fold, dive it down the middle. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Plant your hands, step back, left foot, find your lunge. You can use those blocks here, right? If you grab them. Just to keep a little space here in the chest. So just let's hang out here for a breath or two, get those legs fired up a little bit. So check in with your lunge, right? What are those key points you want to look for? Knee in line over ankle on that front foot. You don't want that knee charging forward, right? That puts pressure on the ankle. That's no good. Back leg nice and strong and straight. Really get some length on there, right? So we can get down into that Anjaneyasana. Heart pulling forward. All right, I won't torture you anymore. Drop that back knee, untuck the toes. All right, we're gonna kind of stop here for a minute because we're gonna use today just to really look at the cues for this pose, right? So when we drop this back knee and we untuck the toes, what we want to try to get to here is flattening out this ankle joint so that we can have more balance, right? More contact with the mat. But if that like really sucks for you, your ankle does not like to bend that way, your toes don't, your foot doesn't, this is just really hard and uncomfortable, jump on your toes. So we're dropping the knee, but we're gonna skip that untuck the toes cue for you. If that just really is making this pose impossible, just stay up on the toes. It's gonna make the balance a little bit easier and keep it a little bit more accessible for you. So that's our first little pause there. So the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna come up, lift the chest, so press into that front foot, coming up. And now we can just kind of keep the hands on the hips for now. Or if you want to pull those blocks back a little bit, so you kind of have them to help you balance, right? Just as a little aid there. And this is why we talk about this front knee and front ankle so much. Because when I'm not actually in that low crescent lunge right yet, I'm gonna sink my hips and bend into that knee a little bit more. And I wanna make sure when that happens, that my front knee doesn't go over that front ankle. Because when it does, now you're putting a lot of stress on this ankle joint that we really don't wanna do. And you can feel how much harder that is and how much more uncomfortable that is if you put your leg in that position. So we want to make sure we've got enough space in our stance so that as we sink into the hips and we get this nice stretch here in the front of this thigh, and we're sinking down low, that we keep this knee in line over that ankle. So that's why we talk about those cues so much, right? So that's our legs. So sink those hips, check in with that front knee. And to fix that, you're just gonna wiggle the front toes forward a little bit if you need to make some space. And then you can come back up, kind of take some stress off, right? Because we're really using those muscles to get into there. So that's our legs. So we're sinking into those hips, we're really using that front leg. We want to be pressing down through all four corners of that front foot, and we're pressing down into that back ankle joint, flattening that leg, right? That's our contact with the mat. Or you're up on your toes and you're using your toes to help balance you. So there's our foundation. That's our lower body. Like I said, we're getting a lot of stretch in that front thigh, right? Deep hip stretch. The upper body, this is where you kind of have some options for this practice. And depending on maybe the day, your balance, just what you're feeling, you might switch it up a little bit. So full yogi strength. So let's come back into our legs. Arm options. Hands on the hips. You can stay just like this, body straight up and down. You can bring your hands to prayer, adding maybe a little bit more balance. Or take an inhale, lift those arms to the sky. You want to go for the full back bend, really open up that heart. From here, you're going to take an inhale, lift the chest. Think about lifting up as you reach back. And you might sink even a little deeper into those hips here. Go ahead, exhale, come on out of that. You just bring that other leg back for a second and come sit. So I just want to talk about the arms. Well, we're not tortured in the pose, and then we'll do the other side. So when we're lifting those arms, we talk about this a lot too, so this is nothing new. We lift the arms up, right? My shoulders are up on my ears now. Everything's really close. And I'm really like reaching my arms. We don't need to like reach and lift the shoulders that way. We want to think about Tadasana shoulders. We maintain that kind of structure and like locked in the shoulders in a lot of our yoga practice. So it's not always something that we talk about, like warrior two even. We're in that Tadasana, open heart, locked in shoulders, rolled back, those kind of arms. So if that's where we're operating from a lot, you can't really have that and do this, right? With your elbows, with your shoulders up by your ears. It's not that same locked in, nice and tight and engaged here. So if we're operating from there, when we lift the arms, that's why we talk about shoulders melting away from the ears, right? Kind of nice wide arms. Pinkies are slightly rotated in, and let those shoulders drop, right? So they're soft, they're hanging away from the ears. It's okay for the arms to be wide. And if your shoulders are really tight, maybe your arms are even a little wider, right? Mine kind of look like this, but maybe your shoulders are really tight and yours kind of look like this, and that's okay too, right? The thing you want to avoid is this. You don't want to have those shoulders up by your ears and really, really reaching, because that's going to start closing all of this off, right? We want to keep nice, open, arms wide. So let's do Anjaneyasana on the other side, and we'll wrap for the day. So let's just make our way back to standing. We'll come into it the same way we did on the other side. Finding your Tadasana. Rooting down through those feet. Right, and we're starting that foundation now. That front foot is rooting down. We're never going to lose that from this point through our pose. Until we actually pick that foot up, we're going to maintain that beautiful connection we're creating. That's why we take the time to do it. Right? Nice and strong Tadasana, open heart. Setting that body up now. On an inhale, sweep those arms. Exhale, forward fold, dive it down the middle. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold, plant the hands, step back right at this time, finding your lunge. The same thing, setting up those feet. Maybe you even wiggle those right toes back a little bit once you get there. A little bit wider than your stance normally is. You know what you're looking for in your body for your Anjaneyasana, right? Everybody's a little bit different. Just another breath or two here, checking in with that front foot, right? We might move that foot a little bit if we need to move it forward or back for that knee. But we want to start with that good structure. All right, go ahead. Let's drop that back knee. Your choice here. Maybe you're untucking the toes, pressing that ankle down. Maybe you're staying up on the toes. Just try to be consistent in that on both sides. So if you just have like one ankle that gives you trouble, do the same thing on both sides. You don't want to just like kind of baby one side. You want to be consistent, right? Keep that down. All right. When you're ready, take an inhale, press up, lift the chest. Find your balance. Right, moving slowly with the breath kind of helps us keep that balance. And then we're going to sink those hips, maybe checking in with that front foot. I'm going to wiggle forward just a little on the side. And then your choice on arms. So maybe you're just staying on the hips. Maybe prayer. Maybe we're lifting. Maybe we're going for that back bend. And hold for just one more breath wherever you're at. On the exhale, those arms will come down. We'll actually come out of this one. So pulling back on the front foot if you got it up. Lift the toes. Back knee, come back to low lunge. On an inhale, bring that back foot up, half lift. Exhale, fold. And from here, we can just kind of come down to the knees. We'll make our way to seated and we'll close up. Once you find your seat, just let the hands come to rest in the lap. Close the eyes. Back to that breath, that stillness that we created at the beginning of class. Just taking a moment here to thank yourself for practicing. I thank you for joining me this morning. Close, we'll bring our hands to prayer. Touching down first at the third eye for kind thoughts. Prayer touches at the lips for loving words. Finally, coming to rest at the heart for an open heart. The light in me honors the same divine light in each and every one of you. Namaste. All right, so that's our Anjaneyasana. Definitely a pose you're probably going to want to warm up for a little bit, especially if you've got, tight hips. It's a big hip pose. That little just like kind of sun salutation flow would be a nice way to practice this, hang out and lunge for a minute, give those legs a minute to get warm. Maybe a little heart opener if you know you're gonna do that back bend as part of your practice. You don't want to just jump right onto the ground in Anjaneyasana, most likely, unless maybe you took a walk or did some other stuff. But nothing you have to be too crazy about warming up or anything. So that's our pose. Full week this week. I think we went over all the technical stuff